So, no, we're live. We're good to go.
Should I wait a minute?
Yeah, we'll give it 1 minute and we'll begin. I'm good, yeah.
Yep. All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Stephen Oldfield. I'm the administrator of Massachusetts Regional Transit Authority, better known as MART. On behalf of MART, I want to thank you all for being here for our public meeting on the proposed bus routes serving Gardner, Athol, Winchendon, and our regional routes. On the screen, you will see our mission statement: to serve people by getting them where they need to go to lead their lives. And we at MART take that mission seriously. It's the reason we exist. And today we're going to show you how we plan to change our transit system to better serve these communities. We need to make changes to match how we and when you actually use our buses, where you need to go and where you need to get there. Today, we're going to see some initial designs for proposed routes and the reasons we are considering these changes. Everything we are proposing comes down to three goals: increasing efficiency, improving the connections between our routes and communities, and expanding coverage where people need it most. And most importantly, we want to hear from you, our riders, and everyone who's thinking about riding with us. This is your chance to tell us what works, tell us what doesn't, and share your own ideas for these routes. Your feedback today, together with our 14-day public comment period, will directly shape what we finalize. We ask that you hold your questions and comments until the presentation is over. After that, there'll be plenty of time to hear from everybody. First, I'd like to introduce Chastity, who will be translating for us today. And with that, I will turn it over to Chastity and then to Michael to create the presentation. Thank you.
Muy buenas tardes a todos y bienvenidos. Mi nombre es Stephen Oldfield y soy administrador de la Autoridad Regional de Tránsito de Massachusetts, conocido como MART. En nombre de MART, quiero agradecerles a todos por estar aquí esta tarde para nuestra reunión pública sobre los cambios propuestos en las rutas de autobús que dan servicio a Gardner, Athol, Winchendon y nuestras rutas regionales. En la pantalla pueden ver nuestra declaración de misión: servir a las personas llevándoles donde necesitan ir para poder vivir su vida. En MART tomamos esa misión muy serio. Es la razón por la que existimos. Y hoy vamos a mostrarles cómo planeamos cambiar nuestro sistema de transporte para servir mejor a estas comunidades. Necesitamos hacer cambios que se ajusten a cómo, cuando ustedes realmente usan nuestros autobuses, a dónde necesitan ir y cuándo necesitan llegar. Así que hoy van a ver nuestros diseños iniciales para las rutas propuestas y las razones por las que estamos considerando estos cambios. Todo lo que proponemos en base de tres objetivos: aumentar la eficiencia, mejorar las conexiones entre nuestras rutas y comunidades y finalmente ampliar la cobertura donde la gente más la necesita. Y lo más importante, queremos escucharles a ustedes, nuestros pasajeros, y a cualquier persona que esté pensando viajar con nosotros. Esta es la oportunidad de decirnos qué funciona, qué no funciona, y de compartir sus propias ideas sobre estas rutas. Sus comentarios de hoy, junto con nuestro periodo de comentario público de 14 días, influirán directamente en lo que finalizamos. Les pedimos que guarden sus preguntas y comentarios hasta que termine la presentación. Después de eso, habrá tiempo suficiente para escuchar a todos. Gracias. Y con esto le cedo la palabra a nuestro planificador de tránsito, Michael Jaboa, a quien les guiará a través de los cambios propuestos.
All right, thank you everyone, and thank you Charles and Stephen. And I appreciate your time spending with us to make sure we align these routes to meet your needs. Let me first test if my cursor works, and it's not, okay. Can you please click on the slide? Yep. Okay, it works now. And I'm Michael Yabo, I'm the transit planner for MART. And I'll go through the presentation, and you can hold on your comments till the end of the presentation so we can come back to address each and every question based on the presentation. So for the purpose of this meeting, we'll be going through this agenda, and we'll talk about why these changes are needed. And also we'll go into the individual routes. We'll start with the Gardner local routes. Then we'll go to the J links. We have the Winchendon link, then we have the Arthur link. Then we'll go into the Arthur Orange. Then we'll come back here in Gardner to connect Gardner, Fitchburg, and also we'll look into our Worcester Shadow as well, because it's also a regional route within our system. So the question of why these changes are needed, we realize that ridership and demands have shifted over the previous months. We have a partial application system on our buses. So when anyone gets on the bus, we're able to count where people are getting on and where people are getting off. So based on that, we've seen a shift in demand. So based on that, we realize these changes need to be made to meet users' needs. And also some routes are always late, and we acknowledge that. And based on the comments you give us, we are looking into making it more reliable to match your demands. And also with reliability, also we are trying to realign some of the timings of some routes, because we realize some routes goes to the same places. So we'll be adjusting the times to make it more reliable to meet your schedules, such that when you miss a bus, you can get the opportunity to get on the next bus. Then we'll look into targeted improvements on various routes. Some routes we realize are not efficient, and based on that, we are trying to shift resources to certain routes to make the overall system more efficient. So in a way to get this done, we try to look into making sure our routes are simple, and also we look into making sure our routes are faster in a way that we are promoting short distances. So we are trying to keep the route straight. At the same time, we are trying to balance coverage. So in as much as the shortest distance between City Hall to the Mount may go through downtown, at the same time, certain routes, we expand the coverage to go towards the west and before it comes back to the actual destination, because we realize that certain people live in certain parts of town which equally need transportation. So we consider these factors as well in the planning purposes, and also we match the demand based on where customers are. So depending on where we have a lot of riders and where the demand is, we try to shift the resources towards that direction, such that we don't have resources going towards areas where nobody is using the bus service. And also we realize in transit theory, the more frequency of services, the more people depend on public transit. So we acknowledge that, and we want our routes, but we want you to trust us and depend on what we provide for you. That is why we are coming for your feedback to determine our design of these routes for your daily use, for your work, shopping, and other trade purposes. So carrying out this process, we started with taking your feedback. So all your feedback, you talk to us once we meet MART staff, the feedback you send to our drivers, they come in-house and they talk to MART staff, and we look through this feedback with the drivers and suggest these changes. So, and also we've had several studies going on within the Massachusetts area. So these studies give us insight of where people demand transportation services. So that's also informed these changes. And also our drivers, we interviewed our drivers, and we have our operating company general manager here, Melissa, who we communicate about what drivers see and the patterns they've seen over time where such that our resources would match the demands of within this area. So before we got to this meeting, we met with town heads and also within Arthur, Gardner, and also the DPW and other departments within the various towns. Then we will continue with the various routes. So I'll start with Gardner Route 1, which is the Route 1 South route, which starts from the City Hall, comes south to the Old English Village Apartments, then goes to Walmart, then continues to Heritage Village South, then comes back to Price Chopper to the City Hall. That is the route, the South route. And for this route, we are not eliminating any section of this route or proposing an additional stopping on this route. What we are doing is to readjust the timing, and also we are spacing this route such that it aligns better with the Route 3. So speaking on that, the Route 2 North, which goes to the Mount, this so the first route and the second route, what we are doing, the changes we are doing on this route is to make sure that this route meets at the City Hall at the same time, such that if you are coming from the Mount and you get to the City Hall and you want to go to Walmart, you can easily transfer at the City Hall to Walmart. Or if you live anywhere, Heritage Village, Old English Village, once you get to the City Hall, you can transfer to the opposite routes and get to the other part of town. So it would be a seamless transfer at City Hall. So this is a major change we are doing on this route. And also, whilst this route goes to Walmart and the Mount, we are trying to also make sure we space the time. Currently, the route generally is about 40 minutes. So the next route, the Route 3, would come in on every 20 minutes, such that if you miss your bus and you are going to Walmart, you can transfer on the Route 3 and go to Walmart. And also, if you are City Hall and you miss the Route 2 North and you are going to the Mount, the Route 3 could take you to the Mount if you're a student and you need to get to class on time. If you miss the bus, you still have the opportunity to go to school. And so what we are doing on the Route 3 is that we are extending it to go to campus, because currently it goes to the hospital. And on the Route 2 North, we realize that the demand for the North route is campus. So we see it justified to extend the Route 3 to also give an additional service to the Mount campus and connect it to the City Hall, such that from when you are at the Mount or you are at the City Hall or you are at Walmart, every 20 minutes you have the opportunity to connect to any parts on this corridor. And the timing would be 20 minutes based 20 minutes at the City Hall or Walmart or the Mount. So these three routes will be focusing on these three main pivots. Then the next route to be discussed is the Winchenden link. This is the one of the J links that we have. That is the Gardner Winchenden line, which connects Gardner to Winchenden. So for this route, what we are doing is that we are expanding the coverage in Winchenden to touch other parts of Winchenden. So if you look at this section, the blue section shows the core or downtown of Winchenden. But what we are doing is to add other areas such as the Highland Streets, Grove Streets, Willow Streets, and here's Highland Streets towards the east, and also towards the west, Grove Streets and other streets within Winchenden to capture all these areas to bring them to Gardner, so that they can connect to other services in Gardner and other services which connects at City Hall. So the next route to be discussed is the Gardner Atoll link, which is the other J link we have in our service area. And this link connects Gardner to Atoll. And Amy and Chelsea, that is your favorite route, I guess. Yeah, so this route, we have a deviation that such that the bus could go on the 2, but we realize that we have residents in Templeton and Phillipston who may always need the service. So we will take off the deviation on going on the highway such that it stays on Templeton and Phillipston on the way to Athol and back. So it becomes a simple route, and the routes will terminate at the YMC, the Athol Y location. Then we would try to adjust the timing to match with the Arthur Orange. So for the Arthur Orange, it starts from Market Baskets, go through YMCA and continues to Orange Innovation Center. So yes, so for this route, what we are intending to do is to take off the deviation on Freedom Street, such that the bus stays on Main Street. So currently, on your way to Walmart, you go on Main Street, but on the return from Walmart, it goes into Ocean State or Freedom Street before it comes back to Main Street. So what we intend to do is to pull all the riders onto Main Street, and we'll provide them with shelters and bus stop signs such that everyone stays on Main Street to be able to go to Walmart eastwards and west and eastbound and westbound directions. So if you are at Main Street and you want to go to Walmart, you can catch the bus at not on Freedom Street but on Main Street to Walmart, and on return from Walmart, it will stay on Main Street. Then you can catch the bus to Market Baskets all the while. So that is the change, the elimination parts of these routes. We are trying to make sure the route stays on Main Street with stop infrastructure provided at Main Street. And also, we will try to adjust the timing such that it matches with the Arthur link. And for the other areas, we would keep it as it is for the current Arthur Orange location. So the next route to be discussed is the Gardner Fitchburg route, which connects Gardner to Fitchburg. And during our analysis, we realized that most of our riders use it from ITC Fitchburg all the way to Gardner City Hall, and the route goes beyond ITC Fitchburg and goes into Leominster. That makes the bus run into traffic when it gets to Leominster, which adds extra time. So you end up the routes ends up being late. So for simplicity and reliability of the service, we would end this service at the ITC, such that people in Leominster would join all the other 5 routes in Leominster to ITC to connect to intercity services between ITC Fitchburg and Gardner City Hall and the Mount. So these routes, in addition to these changes, what we are also doing is that we will make sure it will be a 30 minutes trip between Fitchburg and Gardner, and a 30 minutes return from Gardner to Fitchburg. Currently, it's over an hour. So what we are doing is inbound will be about 30 minutes, outbound 30 minutes. So if you ask Gardner, within the next hour, you would get a bus. And doing that, this section also covers the same section of Wachusett Shuttle. So that driver can be taken off the routes to do other services. So for Wachusett Shuttle, once we change the intercity services for it to be 30 minutes to Fitchburg and 30 minutes to Gardner, we can take this driver off the Wachusett Shuttle routes to do other services such as the ADA and COA to support these other services, which also need operators to run these services. So the routes will stay between ITC Fitchburg and Mount Wachusett on the intercity, would connect ITC Fitchburg to the Mount, then to City Hall throughout the day. And there would be no deviations on these routes. It will be throughout the day, so you don't have to time the schedule before you catch where you need to get the bus. So these are the changes coming on the intercity between Fitchburg and Gardner. And the last route to be discussed is the Worcester Shuttle, which connects ITC Fitchburg to Union Station. So for this for the current changes, we are trying to take up the deviations at Clinton and other towns on the way to Union Station, such that it becomes a straight route between ITC Fitchburg, Monument Square, then to Union Station. We are doing these changes such that these routes will be more reliable and connects to the Gardner Fitchburg link. So each and every time we have the Worcester Shuttle moving from Fitchburg to Worcester or Worcester back to Fitchburg, we would have the opportunity to connect to the Gardner routes. So all the times that we have the Worcester routes in Fitchburg, we would have the opportunity to connect to Gardner all the time. So that if, let's say, someone is moving from Worcester all the way to Gardner, they can have a smooth transition from at Fitchburg to Gardner, such that they wouldn't miss any bus. So we are doing, these are about 9 routes that we discussed. And the primary goals of doing this is to make sure our routes are more reliable, such that the timings better match with your schedule and not to miss your buses. And also, we are improving stronger connections, such that, as I mentioned, the north and south routes, such that passengers can get off one route and get into the next route easily without having to wait longer hours or minutes. And also, we are making sure the routes are more simplified. Currently, the intercity has several deviations on the intercity routes between Gardner and Fitchburg. So, making it simplified, it means the schedule would be, you'll be able to read the schedule without looking at the deviations on the schedule. And also, we are doing all this. The primary goal as a public agency is to make sure we make better use of our public funds and public resources. So these are the primary goals of making these changes. And moving forward, we will continue this process of meeting our riders and the community to get their inputs to make changes. We did this in Fitchburg in December, last year in September, and we took feedback for the Fitchburg and Leominster routes, which we did these changes, and we've seen an increase in ridership, and that informs the reason why to keep this moving, to keep on discussions going, and to make sure the routes better align with your services and with your needs. And also, we realize that as human beings, our demands changes, our where we buy food change, where we go for shopping change. So I think it makes sense for our routes to also change to match where we want to go, and having continuous 3 months, maximum 6 months of reviewing the routes and providing comments on the routes makes sense to keep our community going and keep discussions going, to make changes and also open doors for continuous improvement of our services. So before we start discussing the questions, this meeting will be open for 2 weeks, comments period. So after this meeting, you could still, and you think about anything, you can send in your comments until the June 23rd. And we are looking forward to shoot early July to send out these new changes to the general public. So from now to June 23rd, 2026, and also as given in Spanish, we are open to take comments, and we have our contact details here. We have Stephen Otho, the CEO, and my name is here, Michael, I'm the transit planner. So with all said, we are open to comments and questions for this discussion, or any other comments and questions for MART. We are open to respond. Thank you.
Question.
All right.
On the Athol to Gardner, where it goes through Templeton and Phillipston, and you're not gonna go on Route 2, how is that going to affect for ADA riders, the 1.5 mile? Because I think Templeton is a 1.5 mile for ADA pickup.
Yes.
Are the routes gonna change significantly, or?
This actually gives more opportunity for ADA.
Opportunity.
Yes, because we are going through the central parts of town of Phillipston and Templeton. It
Okay,
means it gives more access to residents of Templeton and Phillipston to use our ADA service. Staying on Route 2 by very certain parts of town for these two cities.
So now, is there any changes to the G-Link route for Gardner Athol? Like significant changes?
No significant changes.
So we can still catch it,
Yes,
say at the Y and go to Market Basket or go
Yes.
to City Hall
yes,
without any
no,
deviations?
no
Or
deviation.
City, or vice versa, that.
Correct.
Now, now you said, you were saying something about the,
no, but I will.
about, orange bus.
Yes,
Now, typically, when we go to Market Basket, we go up to YMCA.
Yes.
That's not the question I have for that. My question for that would be, we go to usually Ocean State, Freedom Street for the, to go to Walmart, Hannaford, whatever.
Mhm.
Now, you said that there would be changes eliminating the Freedom Street
Yes.
stop.
Yes, and it will stay on Main Street, Freedom
So
Street.
whereabouts?
So Main Street, well, that is in front of Ocean State, instead of going on the side of Ocean State.
Okay,
will-
so it'll be
Yes, on Main Street.
on the same side as Cummings
Yes,
and across,
yes, correct.
and across the street,
Yes,
for
and
like both ways.
both ways. Yes, on your way to Walmart, you stay on the street, on Main Street anyways to catch the bus. So on the return, you'll be alighted at the same spot such that there will be no deviations to Freedom Street.
So by the post office, you would stand?
Yes, the opposite the post office.
So the post office, you would stand to go to Orange, and then for Cumbies, you, being on Cumbies side, it would be to go to Market Basket.
Yes,
Okay, that makes sense,
yes.
that makes sense.
And when we are looking into putting shelters at these proposed location on Main Street, and also we realize that area is ADA accessible and Stephen also is a big, when it comes to ADA, he advocates a lot.
Right.
About making sure.
But again-
Too,
So, yeah.
But again,
making sure there's.
but again, riding on any of those routes. If the drivers don't acknowledge you when you tell them where you're going, like say. Like I say. Even apple orange shuttle, sometimes they don't. And they kind of give you an attitude about it. So say you say Hannah, if they don't acknowledge you, how are you gonna know if they heard you? Or got where you're going? It's, to me, it's rude, it's disrespectful, it's rude. Because you're providing a service to your consumers, your customers. The least they would do is answer.
Understood.
So it makes it very difficult to ride a bus when they don't acknowledge you at all.
Yes, once you go ahead, once on our website, we have complaint section, so once you submit, we don't take your complaints lightly, we make sure we address your complaints and we reach out.
And
to
we
you.
have, and the other concern is we have a couple of people that, we have, one of them that drives on the G lane, couple of them, well, Norman and Tim, they drive fairly fast. To the point where sometimes it feels a bit unsafe. Because Tim usually drives pretty fast enough where he'll tailgate. Me and Chelsea have been on the bus a couple of occasions where he's tailgated people. To the point where the person in front of him has to pull over, let him pass, so they can get behind him. Because he's traveling that
Thanks for the
close.
feedback, that'll be something we'll look into.
Correct.
And the problem is, I guess, when you call Gardner to mention that to dispatcher, he has apparently a brother in there that they like the sweetest things under the rug.
I can't now.
But I'm just saying, that's
No, but that's why we have these meetings.
what
That's why
I'm
we
hearing,
have-
because
I
Harry
complaints is like
mentioned it,
a
that
negative
it's
connotation,
what's
it
under
could
the
be
rug.
positives, it's that, feedback, positive feedback for a driver. So I don't like to call it a complaint, but we always want to hear feedback, that's how we see things, we can't be on every route every day and see everything, but.
And there's
To my
one,
point I made earlier before the meeting was like.
and there's
we
one
need
lady
to-
that there's one lady that sometimes drives for the, Athol shuttle bus.
Mhm.
She works out of the Athol. She's very, very rude, and there's been numerous complaints to the drivers about her. I think her name's Jean. She's like older, not Deb, but the older one that works in the office, but
You like
sometimes
that?
she's driving.
You like that?
I don't mind Deb, but, my favorite out of that particular group is Don and Butch.
But
Butch is the best.
Cause Jim,
Butch is the best.
oh, Butch is awesome, he's a grandfather her,
Yeah.
because he's known her since she was
Yeah.
in diapers.
yeah,
Yeah, he's been
So-
driving for 24
Yeah.
years.
this is like an
But he's
important
awesome.
point that like, I feel like,
Yeah,
we try to hear
and Dawn
feedback,
is.
good and bad,
superb.
right?
Dawn is superb. He's
And like, but I think
Best
that
route.
our drivers would appreciate hearing that too,
Yeah,
like,
and Harry's
and I
one of
think
the
it's like a
best
lot of
ones.
times, like. They're not appreciated as much as they should,
No.
like, you
Harry
said to
definitely
me,
don't
we
go
rely on the
appreciate it.
service, so they show up every day, to make sure we serve.
Yeah.
People, our mission statement, is serve people right, getting them where they need to go to lead their lives. So they're just as important as me,
Right.
Michael, and anyone
Right.
here,
If anything, they're more important because they're the ones who drive us.
Bingo.
Yeah.
When we have Harry, there's
in the afternoon for the G-Link. Go back to Alpha, he's like superb, he's like
Yeah.
the best G-Link driver. Surrounds me in a good way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
every
That's how it
time
should be.
we
It's
go-
enjoyable, it's a trust, it's a, relationship that you guys
Yeah.
rely on for your
Building.
transportation. So I guess my point overall is like, we wanna hear the good and the bad, we try to pass along the good stuff.
We can.
Yeah, so anything, we take it seriously.
The only kind of concern I have is that sometimes I guess his girlfriend, who also rides the bus, likes to ride the bus and not get off. So we like to continuously ride the loops.
Gavin, you have any questions or something?
I really like the fact that you guys are dropping the lemon store in the inner city, because that will get you to the station quicker. You're timing it with the Worcester. How long will it take to get from Gardner to Worcester? And then also, would it be timed in any way with the commuter rail?
The improvements on the intercity between Gardner and Fitchburg would make it generally an hour. Let's say if you are at Gardner City Hall, every hour you get a bus. And if you are moving from between one point in Fitchburg to one point in Gardner, that will be 30 minutes. So
Right.
that is set. And once it gets to ITC in Fitchburg, for the times that the Worcester shuttle comes to ITC in Fitchburg, it will be connecting to the Gardner route. So let's say if a bus moves from our Worcester route is currently an hour to Worcester and an hour back from Worcester.
Okay.
So that is 2 hours in general. But all the 2 hours time it comes to, or it moves from ITC in Fitchburg, it will be it will be a guaranteed ride on the intercity to Gardner. So
Okay, so it's a 2 hour loop from the Fitchburg.
that is a 2 hour
And then
loop
it's a 1 hour loop from Gardner.
from Gardner. Yeah, and all the times the 2 hour needs to start, it must connect to the 1 hour in Gardner.
Okay.
Should those connect?
Now, I have a question about the intercity, because we just recently took a trip on the intercity bus from City Hall to Target. Well, to Monument Square,
Yeah.
and then we caught Route 8.
Yeah.
Now, is anything changing in that aspect? Where we would connect with the intercity bus at City Hall to go to Monument Square to catch Route 8 to go to Target? Is there any changes in that aspect?
Yeah, the current intercity wouldn't go to Monument Square now because of the timing and to make sure we have frequency. So once we get to ITC Fitchburg, we have the Route 1, Route 3, Route 2 going to Monument Square at our ITC in Fitchburg. So you can get the connection between to Monument Square using these various
So we would
routes.
take the intercity bus from City Hall
To
to Pittsburgh.
Fitchburg ITC,
And
then
then
connects to
get to that.
Monument Square and
And
get
catch Route 8.
Route 8. Yes. Once some of these trips, it gets customized, and at the same time you are trying to balance it for the overall route based on the general data. So these are the trade-off that come.
Now, my other question I wanna ask is, like I said, like I told Steve.
Yeah.
That we go to Dunn Pond to go swimming because we have problems in Apple, so we can't do the lakes there. So that's Route 2.
Yes.
Is that gonna be ending, is that stop gonna end?
No.
Because we wanna be able to get to Dunn Pond and then back to City Hall.
No.
They're not doing anything.
On the intercity bus, will the hours be extended in the evening, or is it still gonna be a drop? I'm thinking of the train station though.
Yes.
Is it still gonna be a drop off at like 5 or 6 o'clock?
Yeah, I agree.
We're looking to extending the intercity because now we are taking the Wachusett shuttle off, and even the Wachusett shuttle, which has a lot of deviations, goes beyond the intercity. But once we take the Wachusett, we will have more opportunity to add the resources on the intercity to extend the time to add at least a loop on the intercity, and it wouldn't be ending earlier. It would rather end later.
I have a question about the G-Link, to Winchendon through Baldwinville. Will that improve the frequency? Oh, there wasn't really any change, was there? Except in downtown. Winchendon.
They went checking.
There's this awful gap in the middle of the day on that route,
Yeah.
which prevents ADA rides to be scheduled during that time. Is there a hope to continue that link so that rides could happen during the day?
Currently, based on the demand and, Winchester has other services such as.
Right.
Yeah, which gives you opportunity to come here.
Yeah.
So what the changes that we are foreseeing on this route is to give a continuous block of service provision such that, let's say if it starts between 7, it comes all the way to a definite time, then you have the time that we wouldn't have the service and resume the service for work trips. But if you live in Winchester or you want to go to Winchester, you can use the Winchester microtransit to come to Gardner, and that service runs, I think from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. It goes throughout the day, so you could get the opportunity to use the town's service.
Has there been consideration on that, running the bus up to the senior housing in Baldwinville, in the senior center? Has that ever been requested or?
Not from me, but right now. Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, this is, again, just what I have these meetings,
Yeah.
Good feedback, thank you.
Ray, do you have any question or comment?
Well, I know that, I mean, I don't speak ill against people in Winchester, but when they get on our bus, when they get on the G-Link or Capital Shuttle, it's actually taking time away from the drivers because of the fact that are doing the route itself, because they have to get out, put it in park, operate the chairlift, if there is a chairlift on the bus. If it's not the other bus right now. And then they have to try to secure them, which takes at least a good 10-15 minutes. But if your little grooves on the bottom of on the floor on the bus are dirty, like if they haven't been cleaned properly, that takes another 10-15 minutes right there. So
I hear you, I mean, they
It makes
deserve a
it
ride just like everyone else,
Oh, I
You
know,
gotta be
I
safe
know.
and secure
saying,
and be public service,
time.
and if it adds time, it adds time, but. That's important to us at MART and to me
Oh, yeah, like
myself,
safety.
it's like we need safety and security and, accessibility for all,
Right.
to do those things, we have
I mean,
to, again, back to our mission statement, they need to lead their lives also.
right, I'm
That's
just
fair.
looking at like their, like how we can.
Yeah, it's
Better
a,
make
it's
it-
really tough balance, like ridership, frequency, where people want, to go in those route
Like, we
changes to
had-
lead their lives, but also, making sure that.
Yeah, like
have
we
that
had a
public
rider
service.
for the, like we had a rider on the G-Link bus yesterday afternoon. That I had to say something to him because we were in Athol and at the Uptown Common. And they were letting off, all right, by the Historical Society, they were letting off school bus kids. And this passenger, no lie, said something about kids that are, or something about. What did he say, Chuck? Said, are they big bastards? I'm like, excuse me, I don't think so.
Hmm.
We don't talk like that about little kids. I said, if you're so in a hurry, get on the bus, get on your motorcycle or your car. You have both. And because he worked at the JCM factory, but he was like, no rude. I was like,
People just need to be kind. in
right,
general.
exactly,
Just be kind.
exactly.
We all need the service,
right?
us at MART, we work really hard to make sure that we have efficiency, but we also have the accessibility for anyone who needs to lead their lives and,
Mhm.
and have that service that they depend on.
Whereas,
So,
we're both like children. It
It really hurt our feelings because it made us uncomfortable then to say something that negative.
you too.
Yeah, got it.
This is off topic with the route changes, but I know when I ride the Gardner intercity, 1 in like 10 rides, you'll be able to get the announcements going on the bus telling you what streets you're approaching and what stops. Some of the drivers choose not to do it. If you talk to the person on the phone that works at the Gardner station, he says that it's the driver's discretion. But it really does help me, because as a low vision rider, it's hard to know where you are without the announcements. So that was just
Yeah, I've actually
You said
done
1
that.
out of 10, it does not.
1 out of 10, it does. It's very, very rare that
Yeah,
the on-bus announcements are on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too on some of the buses that we've been.
Sometimes you'll get to like
riding.
Walmart and you'll shuffle through every single stop and get back to Walmart and then You ride all the way back around, when you get back to Walmart, the driver will like spam the button or something. But,
Or it's assistant, but that's excellent feedback. It should be 10 for 10 every time.
Yeah, because we've noticed that,
Especially for people, that have, a low vision, like you said, like that is imperative for you in your ridership, so. That's something we will definitely make sure.
yeah, like speaking on that note, yeah, we've noticed that as well, that some of the banner on the top, sometimes it don't even go off, and I know Dawn, who works the shuttle bus, said that they're supposed to, as a driver, they're supposed to call out,
Yeah.
please stop,
Yes.
Absolutely.
and most of them do not.
Mhm.
Most of them absolutely do not.
Heard.
So I'm just
yeah, the
saying, I
alternative,
can do all day.
the alternative for me would be telling them what stop I'm going to
Yes.
get off at.
Yeah.
And I do face the issue that with the language barrier, that they don't always know what stop I'm trying to tell them I'm getting off at.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
if we could get the on bus announcements working, then that would
Yeah.
break that barrier.
Well, I look
Right.
forward to the next public meeting, we have it fixed.
And route number
We can get 10 for
1
10 rating.
specific on that. He barely speaks English, the guy, the gentleman that drives from Route 1 in Gardner, he barely speaks English.
I think what I'm hearing from some of these comments is people that have, hidden disabilities that you look at them and you don't know.
Yeah.
That yeah, it's got vision issues, you don't know it's,
Yeah, we
has-
have anxiety issues, so.
And there ought to be some way to alert, I mean, yes, Sam can do the ADA ride all the time, but he likes to ride the regular bus.
And we encourage that.
And yeah, it's
Which helps him in the long run, it develops that skill.
good.
Just the ADA. That you want to
Yeah,
start.
so,
That's a perfect.
yeah, so, for ADA riders specifically, we are coming up with a group to keep conversation going, because we want to make sure everyone gets the opportunity to live their lives with our services, regardless of ADA service or fixed service.
Mhm.
So, right after this, we'll take your contact to keep you in our ADA group session meeting, to keep this conversation going.
And that involves our drivers, our management company, us at MART, our consumers, that use those services to really collaborate and make sure that, there's making sure the announcements are done, making sure, that, to Michael's point, that, everyone has the accessibility option for those transportation options, and we're doing it the right way to serve our people. So that's an initiative that we have been talking in our transformation meetings over the last couple weeks here, and that's where we're gonna be formulating that group very shortly, make sure we address these things.
I've heard from, not to sound complaining, but I've heard from some disabled riders that maybe have a walker
Mhm.
or have a cane and the steps are hard. And they ask the driver to lower the bus, but the driver won't lower it. Can't you do the steps? And they're not gonna ask if they can. I mean, they
Yeah, they
should,
get really rude.
and it does take time, like what you said, it takes time, but
They
That
deserve that same
Yeah.
transportation just like everyone else. Yeah, could we be more efficient with it? Yes, maybe, but safety is more important, so.
And a lot of times they'll get really upset if they have to get out of the vehicle to go operate the sheriff. I've actually seen them have an attitude about it, like, kind of like, not saying anything necessarily, but like, just their demeanor,
Yeah,
how they present themselves when they're getting out of the
I
vehicle.
would say again, submit the feedback, know the driver, the location, where was that today? What the feedback, like, if we look at all of those and we take action.
and
Yeah, cause I do.
Part of our
tell that
oversight
you're a lot
regulatory
of
oversight.
where do you submit it?
You can submit at Mark and X. We also have a new app that we're gonna be launching that ties all this together, so it's very easy, so that we can do some of these things that we're custom developing, but on our website, there's forms as well. So you can go and submit it, Mark, our email address that was on the screen too, and you can contact Mark. Because that's how we're here, and now we can.
So just calling up to the dispatch person is probably not the way to do it.
I would say go through online websites to submit those, Michael may
Yeah,
have more.
contact Mark.
Contact Mark, email.
Yeah, most of the drivers, like, especially the Admiral shuttle, said, well, even, Harry, he's even said, call Fitchburg. If you want anything done, call Fitchburg.
Actually, the contact mat cuts across, so it's not only, it's cuts across all the service areas, so if you are in MART service area and any of our services, you get on and you need to file a complaint, you can just contact MART and we'll take it seriously and they cancel our offices and we have our operating company there to, address these issues as they come up.
I have another strange question. For getting scheduling, if you are to call dispatch, which dispatch do you call? Because if you're looking for a Gardner route, they want you to call the Gardner number, but I can't find a Gardner number on Google. And so then if you transfer, you have to
Call Fitchburg.
So you call the Fitchburg, if you talk to a lady on Fitchburg, she won't give you any route directions for anything other than the Fitchburg inner, like city 1 through 9 or whatever it is. And so if you want the G-Link buses or the inner city buses, she transfers you to Gardner, so then you sit on hold on both ends. And it can take like 20-25 minutes to get.
Simple answer.
So
Alright.
if there's a, like the Gardner Depot number to actually call. I think is what he's trying, I think.
Yeah, do you call Gardner, and if so, is there a number to call Gardner, or are you supposed to just call Fitchburg? And they're just not doing it, it's one of the two, and I'm not sure which.
I'll have an answer for you, because we're gonna look into that and figure out where that bottleneck is, 'cause it should be simple to give you that information, especially.
Alright,
Yeah, so we'll
Yeah,
discuss
that's
internally to.
thank you.
Yeah. Of course.
So my other question, because we've run into it a couple of times where we'll wait at 5:45 for the last G-Link bus to go to Outlaw. But sometimes it's running late and we don't know, and the app don't really say anything. Who do we call in that aspect?
Mhm.
Then you can call dispatch.
They'd be close, that's right.
But it's,
Yeah,
that's why I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know, like, me saying, hey, we're developing this new Mark Next app, is just, another app, another tool, we are not, and why I didn't wanna mention today is because we're gonna take a lot of the feedback that we have and make it as simple as possible to submit feedback, to look at your route, to tap a button, say, call to get this, and this is the number, and that's to the point that,
Right.
Gavin, right?
Because there needs to
Like,
be
your
a way
point, it's like,
we
where
can-
is that disconnect, should not take 20 minutes to get it, it took 20 minutes for me, I'd be upset, so. That's why I wanna take it internal and look through those things, but that's a lot of good.
Right, because there definitely needs to be something where if you're sitting at Gardner City Hall, you're waiting for that G-Link bus
Mhm.
at 5:45. And you've been there on time and you're waiting.
Yeah.
There needs to be some way of getting a hold of dispatcher,
Agreed.
somebody to find out what's going on. Why is it not coming? And I know Heather drove one of the other buses and I asked her and she kind of gave me an attitude. She's like, well, you need to get your shopping done sooner. But she called Harry. Luckily, she had the walkie-talkie to radio Harry. But she was giving me an attitude about it. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. We just happened to have gotten to the bus stop at 5:45. Or at 5:40 and we were waiting until almost 6 o'clock. For the bus to come. Luckily, he showed up, Harry, but she had the radio into Harry to do the walkie, but there needs to be some way of getting hold of the dispatcher or some office personnel or somebody that can say, hey, check on the status of the bus, there isn't.
Heard,
And what's going on, why is it late?
won't improve.
Cause I definitely don't wanna be walking home from Gardner.
We don't want that.
You don't want that.
No, I'm asking,
We don't want that.
especially in the freezing cold or rain, like scorching hot outside.
Yeah.
I wanna know why we get home.
Understood. Heard. We can improve. And that's why we do these meetings again, to get the feedback, to hear from our community members and where we can.
Cause the other one I did Zoom.
So this meeting was really meant not just for the Gardner community, but for Athol and Winchton. Did they get announcements too?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, cause we're Athol too.
Oh, you're Athol.
Yeah, me, Chelsea and Ray actually, we're all Athol.
We met with that whole too.
And actually, you might be having,
Town manager, just,
it's kind of a good thing, but you might be having a couple more
Sure.
riders in
Yeah,
Athol.
that's why ADA accessible and
Yeah.
those stuff, like, we have to go through that process before you can get to here, so.
And in regards to that, the survey you sent out on various bus stops. Is that still open that people can express concerns?
Yes,
Yes.
so,
Yeah, I don't wanna be, we don't wanna be the one making decisions that affect, people's lives, like, this is why. We gotta do the prep work for it, and do those meetings and hear the feedback. And this is another step in that whole process, and that's why we keep it open, and that we wanna hear what our community members need.
Because we definitely wanna be able to utilize these buses and.
And we do too, we want you to.
And there's
Trust me.
a couple of other, riders that live in my building that like to use it, but they don't know the bus schedule.
Mhm.
And I hate going on to the website and looking up the schedule because it's like. I have a hard time understanding how to read them.
That's a project we're also
They're
working
like-
on, Josh is working on
they're
too,
like,
cause I wanted
what
these
is
here
that?
today.
Trying to
For,
figure out the morning route from
yeah,
the PM or.
yeah, that's another.
I'm gonna
We're doing
look-
a whole
looking at
website
the-
overall to make it much more user friendly, easy.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
go there, easy clicks.
Like I said, I
Because
can
that's-
Schedule will be go to Google Map. I use Google Map a lot,
Yep.
sometimes the time schedule. Bus doesn't come on time.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the GPS just, I don't know.
yeah, it's a difficult thing, we were talking about it earlier too, it's just really difficult, with other agencies, Google taking those. And getting them right, and that's where I think the transit industry, the commuter rail. And the RTAs need to connect so that you can, for example, I wanna go to Leominster substation, using public transportation, you should be able to do that and have it route like Google, like that. Walk, jog, or subway, it's like those couple options, so I think that's the way that's how we try to make it easy for you to.
yeah, and with the new schedules, once we publish to the public, we would make sure, we get some them to our UTFS system for now, once we are making improvements, we'll make sure our UTFS system gets the data, so once the data, you could use, Google could give you the location to walk to, then you can find the bus from there, and also our Pass Your Go app, you're able to see the bus on the various routes
Yeah.
to track them, so.
Yeah, I can
Depends
never-
on
I can
the
never
bus
see
we
that
use,
part.
I can find.
So the app that you have right now, Paseo Go, is that based on real-time GPS on the buses?
Yes, yeah.
But sometimes they're not tracking, so we have to be careful, sometimes
Yeah,
they're not tracking. I've noticed it's.
It's one or two,
Not
yeah.
tracking.
I think that the Paseo Go GPS is something to do with the announcements. I've noticed the connection between the
Yours
two.
are smart.
You're catching on,
You're right.
because they are connected.
They are connected. I've noticed that if the app's right and their bus announcements are working and if one's off, then the app's not working.
They're
Yeah.
the same software.
That's where it's,
I have a
yeah,
question
you're right.
about the Apple shuttle bus. So. So, like you said, it goes from Market Basket to OIC. Now, there is a stop on there, is the, TD Bank North. Old TD Bank North building, it's across the street from Gumby's in Orange. Now, that's not stopping, because I have my counseling appointment at CHD, which is now located at that same TD Bank North.
Yeah, so currently we are a flag down system, so once you have to get off at a particular area, you let the driver know. The driver would drop you at a safe closest
Yeah,
location.
usually it's
Yes,
Yeah,
so,
it's not,
it's not a company,
still
yeah,
the same.
so it's still the same?
yes,
Okay, good, phew. I don't wanna miss my coaching appointment, I don't wanna be walking from Orange Center down.
We don't want any.
Oh, but, no,
That's our goal, no one bought.
oh, well, I've had to walk from Walmart back to
Oh,
Apple,
no.
because I missed, because the bus, no, because the Apple shuttle bus stopped early one day, and I didn't know it had stopped at 3 o'clock. It was on Saturday, and I'm like, oh, that's not fun. That was not fun. Luckily, it wasn't too hot. But that's not fun. And the driver, and when the driver, and when the driver dropped us off, he didn't say anything about, oh, by the way, just like you go. You gotta catch I would suggest being out here by a certain time.
Or
Question about flagging the bus and asking the bus to stop. I mean, you've got the list of, take bus two, the Gardner bus two, because that's the one Sam rides sometimes. He likes to get off in places between the library and the Chestnut Street stops, the two that are official stops. Can he ask to be dropped off in between, or should he go to the stops?
Once it's a safe location, the driver has a flag down system has to stop for.
Okay.
So.
Likewise, can he flag it?
Yes, he can flag it.
Flag it,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, once.
I wasn't sure.
Yes,
And all
the
that-
driver would, if it's not safe, the driver will direct him to,
Okay.
walk few feet to a safe location.
Yeah. And on that note, I was told, we were actually told yesterday on the call, right, I remember. We were told that supposedly the flag down system is being stopped because
True.
you guys were trying to be like
Fixed up.
RTA at RTA.
I think it's just a different model, but yes, like the flag down has a lot of inefficiencies in it, in between these to the
I
fixed
agree.
ops. So. Again, this is a whole other project. I know Michael just sent out communication on this starting today, because we want to start that project, and that's gonna go. Same way we can get public feedback, look at these areas, but if you look down, flag down, like to your example, you have the two fixed stops. And you guys in the middle, it's like. That causes the inefficiency of running more frequency, but you understand that the fixed stops right now, we need to move, change, add, whatever, moving forward, but there's a lot of gains from moving away from flag down to a.
We,
Hold on, 1 second.
On the topic of the fixed and flag stops.
Yeah.
On bus three, the Hannaford's is only a flag stop right now. And then like I live in South Gardner by the Heritage Village would be my closest stop.
Yeah.
But there's the Prospect Street School has a physical station there, but they won't stop unless you wave to the driver, even if you're standing outside the stop. But I can't see if the bus is coming down the road. And so
Yeah,
it is a fixed like state
Yeah.
stop, but they don't treat it as if it's like Price Chopper or Heritage Village.
Yeah.
But walking to Heritage Village seems. A little out of the way when
Oh, yeah.
it's a stop.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that makes the part of the conversation of moving from a flag to a fixed stop. So this, if let's say we have the stop signs as a fixed stop system, then once you stand by the stop sign as a fixed stop system, the driver has to pick you because you are the
Yeah.
bus stop sign. So
Yeah, there's a lot of
benefits.
to that, right? Bob,
Yeah.
Okay, so on
we don't
that-
know best, yeah, right? Like, we need to have more of those meetings, those conversations, with our community members to make sure that we're implementing that correctly. We're not implementing that until
Yeah.
we are, sold. That's like, we've heard all the feedback. These are all the right areas. We're gonna gain those efficiencies, in operating model, and we'll.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
So we like to stop at the Uptown Common, which is in Athol. Because they don't like to stop in front of CPS because it being on the road and they don't want, so they stop at Uptown Common, which is a bus stop. It has the signs there, so that would not be stopping.
No,
Am I understanding that correctly?
yes,
So we would still be able to stop at City Hall at Uptown Common and walk
Yes.
up to CPS.
Absolutely.
yes,
And then walk back down to guest bus if
No doubt.
we need to. Okay,
yes.
I just wanna make sure.
We are trying to add benefits to our riders. That's, we're not trying to take away, whatever the
Right.
numbers say, the ridership, efficiencies.
I definitely wanna make
That's
sure.
used for our.
I wanna make it easier, not harder.
That's what our.
That's right.
So,
But we have to get it connected.
yes, I was gonna mention that, I was
That
gonna
is
have
a-
for a time check.
So,
Van is gonna pull up here, so you don't have to rush. The van is gonna pull up right out here with you. Oh, you don't have to go yet, he's not here yet.
Oh, so you'll let us know?
It's a benefit for
Because
giving
there's three of
feedback
us,
today.
yeah. Well, thank you, because I was a little worried about that. I was worried about that.
No walk.
You take care of it.
No. If you have any other questions, comments, feedback?
Ray, do you have, Ray, do you have any?
Did I see that, on Route 2 was 140, where they're gonna go by Dutch, gonna be stopped?
No,
No? Okay. Cause I know those people at Bridgewood, There's one
Yeah,
that
it's
goes,
just way
there's
too
one
much.
that Richard, she goes to the hospital.
Yeah,
She has to come on Route 2 all the way around to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And there's another, one, he works down to Walmart, but he knows where to get off and.
yeah, no shit.
There's one, there's still going by there.
Yeah, so they could use the Route 2 and also even use the Route 3 because now the Route 3 goes by the hospital and also gets to campus, Massachusetts Community Campus College. So the rider will have about 20 minutes, multiple options to around that.
So basically, anywhere there's a MART bus stop sign. Which, so like School Street
Yeah,
in Athol, like School
yes,
Street,
yes, School Street, yeah, yeah,
those would not be taken away.
no,
Those are fixed.
Not
Buffer
taking it.
stops.
stops.
No, yeah, we're already.
We are rather adding,
Only
we are adding to our bus stops.
Yeah,
Not
we're
to
adding.
take away.
You're adding to them too?
We are adding, we plan on adding more bus stops, signs on our routes, and we are not taking away. If we would take something off, then it means it's not a safe stop based on,
Like the
accidents or
one on
anything.
Freedom Street.
yeah, Freedom Street will, eventually, once the route comes on Main Street and we have a shelter in front of Ocean Street, then definitely Freedom Street, there will be no stop on Freedom Street, but there will be a stop in front of Ocean State on Main Street.
With the bus stop.
Yes, we'll do the bus shelter.
Yeah.
That's another benefit of going to more
Okay.
fixed stop, we can put those shelters,
Yeah.
put a lot of things in gate inefficiencies, so there's a lot of
So those-
gain, but it's a
so
big
those-
change as well, so. we
So
don't-
those bus stop signs are fixed for stop.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So they won't
No,
be making a disappearing act.
No, no.
you know where to find me, so if it.
Oh.
Hearing that, yeah.
Oh, that's a wrap.
Giving you the opening, giving you the opening.
Take the bus and go.
We won't be doing it. That's
Right.
right.
I have a sense of humor, sorry.
We're trying to. All right, well, thanks
All right.
for your time. Anything else, Frank, from your side?
Yeah, the time, is it?
We're good, 5:30.
Okay, so in absence of any further questions, we thank you all and we'll be ending this public meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Some feedback. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you guys.
Yes, thank you guys for listening to us.
Of course.
Cause actually, I was told by one of the other drivers that